What conspiracy theory do you 100% buy into, and why? Disney's Frozen is only titled like that, so when you Google Disney Frozen the movie comes up instead of conspiracy theories. During Hurricane Katrina, the Murphy Oil Refinery in St. Bernard Parish, just outside of New Orleans, had a container rupture and leak oil on a lot of the surrounding neighborhood, including my grandparents' and aunt/uncle's houses. After the cleanup, the land was deemed uninhabitable and the oil company was able to purchase all the land for very cheap. Many people that were affected and in the area believe that the oil company did it on purpose, and I tend to believe them. Mattress Firm is some sort of giant money laundering scheme. They are fucking everywhere and always empty. I remember seeing 4 mattress firms all on each corner of an intersection once. There is no way there is such a demand for mattresses. Pope John Paul I was assassinated for trying to uncover corruption in the Vatican Bank. He's the only pope whose body was cremated, and I believe it was done to hide the evidence of being poisoned. Cosmopolitan and other similar magazines intentionally give out bad advice, so their readers won't get in a relationship, which makes them keep buying them for advice. Paul pierced his pants in the NBA Finals and faked an injury to change his pants. I had a Vietnamese roommate in college. One time someone mentioned apples and my roommate said he could rip them in half. We all called bullsh, and so he did it to shut us up. It was pretty cool. But then he claimed that all Vietnamese people can do it. That didn't sound right. So now whenever I meet a new Vietnamese person, I ask, in as polite and not creepy and not racist a way as I can, if they can rip an apple in half, and I'll be damned if every person I've ever asked goes yeah, sure. Also, most of them follow up with all Vietnamese people can rip apples in half. Then I always ask if that's just how people in Vietnam eat apples, and they always say no, we just eat them the normal way, but all Vietnamese people can rip them in half if they want to. I truly don't know if I'm being trolled or not. If I ask the question and have an apple, I'll always give it to the person who claims they can do this, and they always can. So there's some truth to it, but I cannot figure out why. In my experience, almost all Vietnamese people claim that all Vietnamese people can rip apples in half. That's a weird thing to claim. How are they so sure about what every other Vietnamese person can do? Are they implying that Laotians and Thai people can't do this? Is it a special trick they teach only in Vietnam? I would never claim that all Americans can juggle, or that all white people can juggle. See, I don't even know if they are suggesting it's a racial trait or a cultural skill. Or is it that Vietnamese people are just really proud of their culture, so they like to fib about the skills everyone else has? And then when tested with an apple, all Vietnamese people are just so confident that they're awesome enough to do it, that they just brute force the apple in half. Or was there a meeting once, and all Vietnamese people realized that they could help each other by making wild fruit claims about the skills of the Vietnamese, so that they could trick dumb white boys like me into giving them free fruit to test their powers? I would welcome any data anyone else can offer on this. My sample size is admittedly small, about 8 Vietnamese people, so this could just be a statistical fluke. But when 6 people, who have almost certainly never met each other before, independently claim that all Vietnamese people have fruit powers, it makes you wonder whether it might just be true. Planned obsolescence everywhere in industry. If everyone stopped replacing their cars and smartphones, imagine this storm. Boneless wings are just overpriced chicken nuggets. The English were absolutely moving arms on the Lusitania. That's why they dropped a ton of depth charges on the wreck 30 years later to destroy any evidence. Trader Joe's parking lots are terrible and small to make the store seem like it's always busy. The coup attempt in Turkey was faked in order for Erdogan to consolidate his power and purge opposition. So Nicholas' son, I don't remember the son's name, was being given aspirin for his hemophilia. Rasputin knew this would only make his condition worse, but didn't share this with the Tsar or his wife. In those days, aspirin was the new miracle cure-all drug, but it expands the capillaries and thins the blood. For someone dying because they're hemophiliac, there's nothing worse to give them. Whenever Rasputin was around, he didn't let the son take aspirin, and he got better. The Tsar's wife was convinced he was her son's only hope and kept him around despite his outgoing personality. Christian Bale has a thinner twin brother he keeps hidden away who fills in 4 roles requiring a skinny Christian Bale. They each share one life. Christopher Nolan figured this out and told the world in the documentary The Prestige. Snapchat selfie filters get sent and stored to the NSA for facial recognition. Facebook and Google are monitoring everything you type, post, and say. There are so many stories of people talking about, say, cats, and getting ads for cat food within an hour. They never searched for cats or cat food then, or in the past, just said the word a few times. Reply All did a podcast episode debunking this theory, but all it boiled down to was an email from Facebook stating they didn't do this. Swiper and the map are in cahoots. Think about it. Swiper always seems to know exactly where Dora is going to be, and who is always telling her exactly where to go. Wake up, sheeple. Okay, this is going to be something no one else can relate to, but bear with me. So my freshman year of college, like many other students, I lived in the dorms on my own for the first time. Because of this, I drank like a fish. Because of that, I lost the keys to my dorm room about 6 times. After getting sick of paying a fee each time I lost my keys, I noticed a hardware store on the main street of campus. It was always 100% empty, even though it was located right in the middle of a high-priced real estate area. One day I go in and ask if they can copy keys. They can. So I give the guy my dorm key and he says, "Sorry, I can't copy this. I don't have the right machine." Seems fishy to me, but okay, whatever. Next year, I have a private apartment. Still drinking a lot, still always losing my keys. This time I'm pretty confident that Ron at Ron's Hardware can copy my key. I go in, same thing, he doesn't have the right machine. At this point I'm like, okay, buy the machine. None of these keys said do not duplicate. There are 30,000 drunk college kids on this campus who lose their keys every day. Make an investment towards our futures, Ron. So I start to think about it more, and the only reasonable conclusion is that he gets a kickback from all the different property companies every month to not copy keys. So naturally every time I see the store, I rant to whoever I'm with about it. Everyone thinks I'm nuts. Fast forward to super senior year, probably shouldn't have drank so much the first 2 years, but I digress. I'm looking for a super cheap apartment and notice a building about a block off of campus that says they are still leasing places. I call the number on the side of the building. It redirects me to Ron's Hardware. The Zuma satellite is alive and well, probably hovering up information on everything by now. It's so blatantly obvious, no one has even confirmed any failure of the satellite. I don't even think this qualifies as a conspiracy theory, because no one has really denied that it's working. Lip balm makes your lips dependent on lip balm. Just seems the more you use it, the more you need to use it. Not sure if that's an actual conspiracy, but that's the best I can come up with on a Monday morning. Madeleine McCann was totally killed. Whether on purpose or by accident I don't know, but the parents have tried to hide it. I remember reading sometime about how they claimed a man took her, and the only witnesses who were in the street at the time said they saw a man walking away with a rolled up carpet, and the description fit the father. Personally, I think there was an accident in the hotel room and they tried to cover it up, not expecting it to blow up as huge as it has. People who said they believed MK Ultra was real were laughed at for being cooks. Sometime later it becomes declassified information. Isaac Hayes was assassinated by the Church of Scientology because of his involvement with South Park. It was claimed that Hayes left the show because of his involvement with the church and was upset with Tree and Matt with the idea of making fun of Scientology, but after the episode was released, marking the first time that the origin myth of Scientology was told on primetime television, he was mostly likely deemed a suppressive person and then murdered in his home. The full details of his death were and are still incredibly hazy, excuse the morbid pun, and the coroner report was not at all conclusive. TL. Dr. Isaac Hayes was killed by a fine Scientologist over South Park. That much of the current polarization and hate around social issues is, although self-maintained, triggered purposefully and amplified by manipulators in an act of destabilization of Western societies, especially North American, through social media. This applies to both sides, which are too complacent to see it in themselves. The woman's clothing industry is a conspiracy. Winter cardigans intentionally thin, so they have to buy more to layer them. No pockets, so they have to buy bags. If the men's clothing industry tried the same, I guarantee the global economy would collapse overnight.